Hi, welcome back to my Floss Tube channel, Stitching Fleur. I'm Fleur and I'm going to be talking about my stitching. I'm going to get straight into it. I'm going to go straight to whips because I have a bit to talk about today. So we'll start with my Santa Sleigh by Nora Corbett. It is supposed to look like this. It's part of the Christmas Eve Careers collection. And I have finished it. And it looks like this. Now this is stitched on 32 count platinum Lagana. Took me 18 and a half stitching sessions to complete this. It's got great variation in the colour in the ribbon, so it almost gives it that 3D effect on the ribbons. Lots of cranny, lots of beads, a great Christmas piece. This was part of Cross Stitch and Discuss stitch along called "'Tis the Most Wonderful Time of the Year" to stitch a piece during the festive season. So started on the 1st of October. I did miss a few days here and there doing other whips, but 18 and a half sessions and it's done. So that's 32 count platinum Lagana for Santa Sleigh, Nora Corbett, Christmas Eve Careers. That's that one. Now the next whip that I was doing. Now, for those that haven't seen my first Floss Tube video, I'm going to go through all the worlds. So my next whip is Barbara Anna's 5-part series, A New World. The first world is The Night of All Fears. It looks like this. Now, in the picture, as you can see, the witches have plain coloured skin. I have changed that and done a mini conversion, DMC 470, to make them green, which when you have witches they have to have green skin. So I'll just show you that one. Looks like this. So that's world number 1. Okay, and world number 2 is Plentiful Meadows, and it looks like this. Done that one too. So these two I did in my last video, and it looks like this. That's world number 2, Plentiful Meadows. Now my aim for this month was to finish world number 3, which is Deep in the Woods. Looks like this. So it's only got one house, some bears, a weird squirrel, not sure what that thing's up to. And it is done. Just fold it into place. This is Deep in the Woods, finished. And then I was also able to complete world number 4 this month, which is A Visit to Town, and it looks like this. Now this one is quite time consuming because it's got all the houses in it, and the houses have about 15 to 17 colour changes, so it is quite time consuming, but I did push myself on this one and just completed it before filming. And that one looks like this. That's world number 4, A Visit to Town. Now the skin in the witches in the first world and the skin in world number 4, I've done 1/1, just for something a little different. Now this piece is stitched 2/2, other than the skin, on 28 count Lagana. And I'm going to show you the full piece. We'll see if we can fit it in the image. How's that looking? Oh, a little bit lower. That's better. So that's all 4 worlds. So as you can see on the bottom, I've got just enough to do the last world, which I'll be doing next month, and that's Over the Seas, which looks like this. So that one will be done next month, and that will be my finish for Barbara Anna's A New World. Now, these series are quite quick to stitch up. They're about 3 inches high by about 12 to 15 inches long. The first weld I did in 6 days, the second weld I did in 6 days, the third weld I did in 5 days because there's only one house, and the fourth weld I did in 5 days, but I really did push myself on that one. The other thing I wanted to mention, and maybe it's just a personal thing, but when I do a series I like to make sure that I've got everything I need, all my threads, all my fabric, my charts, everything ready to go. So I'm not having to make those extra trips back to the local needlework store. Now I've gone through 4 welds. In the series it does state that you need an additional skein of 433. Well, I've done my 4 welds now and I use petite needles, the John James petite needles, and I had to go out and grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 skeins that I've run out of and will need for the 4th weld. So for anyone who's doing a new weld series for Barbara Anna, just keep that in mind when you're doing it, that you may need to grab some additional skeins. So that was my second whip, just coming along beautifully. Now my third whip is everyone's favourite, Death by Cross Stitch. It looks like this. Lots and lots of fun to stitch. And I am doing this one on, we'll see how the colour comes up. So this is on Deep Burgundy, 28 count. Just get this so you can see it. Okay, so this one I'm doing on 28 count Deep Burgundy Even Weave 1/1, and I'm using DMC's 822, which looks like this. And this is like a dirty cream bone-like colour. I affectionately call my Death by Cross Stitch blood and bone because fabric being blood colour and thread being bone colour. So last time I had the first page done and a small portion of page number 2. I then completed the rest of that. Now I've got a couple of days left of November, so I plan to do the 3rd page as I said last video. And then for December I will continue on and do 1 more page during December. It's a really, really fun stitch. I'm really enjoying it. Like I said previously, when you get the continuous lines of pattern that are quite repetitive, I don't even need to look at my chart. It's just, it's relaxing and you don't have to think about it too much until you get to the sort of the more detailed areas. Really, really love this one. Death by Cross Stitch. Don't know if it's coincidence, but when I was stitching it on this month, my light died. Some people might have seen my post up on Stitch Mania or Instagram. It's a bit apocalyptic, but I managed to fudge something together and I was able to complete it. So this is Death by Cross Stitch by Long Dog Samplers, 1/1 on 28 count Deep Burgundy Even Weave with DMC 822. It's coming along really beautiful. So that's that one. Now my next whip is a new one. On Instagram, Stitchy Mum was having a giveaway for 500 subscribers at the time, and you had to, as part of your entry, list your top 3 charts that you really, really wanted. And I actually won it. And we know how expensive postage is to Australia at the best of times. And she not only sent me the chart, but she sent me the fabric, the Weeks Dye Work threads, and the DMC. Amazing. So it is Country Cottage Needleworks Ornamental Joy, and it looks like this. And I put a few stitches into it. It's on 28 count lamb's wool linen. I'll just pop something behind it. So it looks like this. It's on 28 count lamb's wool linen, lamb's wool Jovelin, sorry. And the red that you see in the chart is the Weeks Dye Works Louisiana Hot Sauce, and the dark brown that you see the ornamental letters hanging from is Weeks Dye Works Hazelnut, and the rest is done in DMC. Now, I don't know if it's just because I've just come off stitching Santa's Sleigh, the Nora Corbett, with all the Krennic and beads, but I wanted to pep it up a little bit because it is a Christmas piece. So what I'm going to do is there's one snowflake here, and there's quite a few scattered through, but I haven't finished it yet. I'm going to add, and I don't know if you can see this, a half stitch of number 4 braid Krennic 032. I'm going to do a half stitch over the white snowflake stitches, just to give it a little bit of sparkle, because it is a Christmas piece. You need some sparkle at Christmas time. So again, that one is Ornamental Joy by Country Cottage Needleworks on 28 count lamb's wool gerbilin. Thank you very much, Stitchy Mum. I really, really appreciate it. That one will be done before Christmas. Now, the next one that I have, I'm going to insert a picture now. Okay, so that's Reflector Soise Mystery Sampler. It started on the 1st of October and it goes for 14 months. So the first 2 parts have already been released. The next one is due to be released this week on the 1st of December. Now, I've been looking for a long time to do a project with Cottage Garden threads, and this is the one. So I'll show you how far I've gotten so far. Now, this is done on 32 count cream linen. It's been a while since I worked on linen. And it looks like this. Hopefully you're going to see that okay. So I've just started the top of it. It's one of those ones that I put stitches in when I finish a project early, and I just add a few stitches into this. I will ramp up my progress as we come into the new year. Now, the Cottage Garden threads that I used are 708 Plum Pudding. They're Cottage Garden threads, if you're not familiar with it. Now, the beauty of these is they are colour fast. So if you're a person that washes your projects after you've finished, these are colour fast, so no problems with running or anything like that. The other great thing about this is they come in these little packs, and they're pre-cut lengths, which is really, really handy. So if you're out and about or traveling and you don't bring your scissors, not a big deal. So this one, if you just hold it from the top and pull down the left-hand side, very gently. Oh, it's not gonna work for me now, is it? Just pull down that, there we go. Pull down the left-hand side, unravel it, and you've got your pre-cut lengths there. So this one, I've got some yellows, some greens, a little bit of orange, some burgundy reds, and some green. Now, they're not silk, but they're wonderful to work with. Really, really beautiful. Now, these ones I picked up at the Thread Studio here in Perth, so any of you Aussie girls, or anyone really, because they post internationally. This is the Thread Studio. They sell the whole series of the Cottage Garden threads, but they also do the Cottage Garden threads thread club, so you can join it, and then each month they send you out some threads and you can end up collecting the whole set. So that's the Thread Studio, and that's my Reflector Soise Mystery Sampler on 32 count cream linen with Cottage Garden threads 708 Plum Pudding. So that's coming along really nicely, so I'm really happy with that. So that's on my whips for the moment. Now I'm going to move on to a Stitch Back in Time. Now, a Stitch Back in Time are pieces that I've done either years ago, a couple of months ago, finishes that I've had that I just want to showcase to you. So the first one that I'm going to do is, as we know, Cross Stitch and Needlework magazine will be finishing. They will no longer be in production. They have their winter issue coming out, and then that's it. They'll be no longer, which is really sad because it's probably one of my favourite magazines. Now, every year they bring out an ornamental series, and they showcase it over 3 issues. So you collect all 3 issues, and then you can do your ornaments either individually or generally in a 9-piece setting, the whole lot. So my Stitch Back in Time today is a piece from Cross Stitch and Needlework. So I'm going to show you the 3 issues, and then I'll show you my piece. So this one is from these 3 magazines, September 2014. So the cover looks like this. It's in November 2014, which looks like this. And it's also in the January 2015 issue that looks like this, the cover. Now, I believe Hirschner's was selling these for 99 cents. I'm not sure if they have any left, but if you're interested in this sort of series, you may be able to pick them up still on there. Now, the one that I did was Classic Christmas Charm by Barbara Anna, which looks like this. So as you can see, you can stitch them either as ornaments, or you can stitch them as the one piece here, and that's what I've done. So I have completed this on 28 count Milk Chocolate Jaslyn by Hand Dye Fabrics by Stephanie as one piece. So Classic Christmas Charm by Barbara Anna. It's really, really cute. It's got that, I love the border, that was my favourite part. Now this one I'll probably eventually get some Christmas fabric and do it up into a cushion, because as you know we compete for wall space in this family. So Classic Christmas Charm by Barbara Anna on 28 count, 2/2, Milk Chocolate Jaslyn by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. Okay, so my next stitch back in time is Tigerlily, which is a Nora Corbett Pixie Couture collection it is. So Tigerlily by Nora Corbett, part of the Pixie Couture collection. Now I've stitched this on a piece of 28 count Stardust Jaslyn by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, and it looks like this. Hopefully you can't see through that. It's beautiful oranges with dots of black beads, that gorgeous green, just enough brightness. Now with this one, for those who are not sure or aware, the Mirabella and Nora Corbett website has a corrections page. So this is one in particular that does have a correction. So the skin on Tigerlily is in reverse. So the light parts are dark and the dark parts are light. So if you're doing a Nora Corbett or a Mirabella, I would suggest that you do check that site whenever you're doing it, just in case you do have a chart that has an actual correction on it. So Tigerlily by Nora Corbett, part of the Pixie Couture collection on 28 count Stardust Jaslyn by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. My next stitch back in time is Geranium, which is another Pixie. It's by Nora Corbett and it's part of the Pixie Blossoms collection, and it looks like this. Now I had a big piece of Stardust, so I actually cut it in half. So I did Tigerlily on one and I did Geranium on the other. Now it's 28 count Stardust Jaslyn by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, and this is what she looks like. Nice bright colours, really, really fun to stitch, probably one of my favourite pixies. Bright reds, bright pinks, gorgeous purple wings, that green krennic again, I love that green krennic. Now, I brought the pixies out because I wanted to show those who maybe aren't familiar that my Santa Sleigh Nora Corbett is not the normal size for a Nora Corbett. Nora Corbetts are generally around this pixie size, whereas the Santa Sleigh is probably double that. So not as big as a Mirabella, but about twice the size of a Nora Corbett. So that was, I'll just show you one more time, Geranium, part of the Pixie Blossoms collection, 28 count Stardust Jaslyn by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. Okay, my next stitch back in time is a Mirabella. It's Siren and the Shipwreck. Looks like this. Now this one I've stitched on 32 count Seafoam Lugana, and it looks like this. Hopefully with it being a light fabric I'll be able to see through it. Like that. Hopefully you'll be able to capture it all. Okay, so this one has got krennic, this has got Karen water lilies in her tail, it's got those gorgeous beads. Her chandelier is jam-packed full of crystals. Her hair has got the petal treasures in it. Absolutely stunning. One of my favourite mermaids that I've stitched so far. She's absolutely divine. So it's 32 count Seafoam Lugana, stitched 2/2. Siren and the Shipwreck by Mirabella. Absolutely gorgeous. Really love stitching that one. Lots and lots of beads, but lots and lots of fun. Now my last stitch back in time is one that I don't see very often. It's English Roses. It's another Mirabella. Looks like this. It's an old one. It came out in 1994. Now as you can see in the picture, it has ribbon embroidery. Don't be afraid to try something new. The instructions in this chart are phenomenal. You will read it and you will just feel much more at ease. So in this particular picture, sorry, I'll show you again. I know that I'm taking this in and out of focus. it has like a vintage rose coloured ribbon embroidery around the centre of the circle and down the sides, and like a green ribbon for the leaves. I didn't do that, but that's not surprising because I change things up all the time. So with my piece, and I'll show it to you first and I'll explain what I used. So this one was stitched on 32 count cream Lugana, and it looks like this. Absolutely beautiful. Hopefully those roses are coming up. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the roses up the top here, down the sides, and I've changed them. So what I used is Jacinta Leishman. She's an Australian dyer. She does hand dyed silk ribbons, and I picked up some hydrangea for the roses, so it looks like this. And I picked up river gum in a smaller size for the leaves, just like that. Now these ribbon boards, if anyone is asking, I picked up from Sawdust Art. These two that I've got the silk ribbons on were complimentary. I was actually in the market at the time for some form of storage for my Karen water lilies. So I have these vintage ribbon boards that I use for my Karen water lilies. And I just put the name on the back in marker. And they just sit in a box. I've got a little box with a lid to make sure they don't fall out. So I picked those up from Sawdust Art, and they gave me two large complimentary ones which I used for my silk ribbons. So that was Jacinta Leishman. She's on Etsy. I'll link her down below, and use those. So I think it just just turns it up a notch, makes it a little bit more modern and more to my taste. So don't be afraid to try something different. It was a lot of fun. So that's English Roses on 28 count cream Lugana. That's all my Stitch Back in Time pieces. Now I have a couple of things I'm going to tell you about what I'm going to be doing next month. So next month for my whips, I will continue doing Death by Cross Stitch, do another page on that. I'll also be continuing to put a few stitches in my Reflector Swan Mystery Rose Sampler piece. And I'll also be doing Needleworker, which I showed in my last video, which looks like this. And I'm going to answer a couple of questions as well about that viewers sent questions in to me. Most of them I answered as soon as they came up. One viewer noticed that I had a needle minder on my work that I didn't show. Last time I showed my Clay by Kim needle minders. One was a cauldron and the other one was my ladybug, but I also have a Christmas one that was sitting on my Santa sleigh that I missed. So this is what it looks like. Now I love these needle minders. I find them really, really handy since I do stitch quite a few Mirabellas, because I bead at the same time, like bead as I go. I can put my beading needle in the archive underneath. There's a little channel underneath. You probably can't see it, but there's a little needle that can sit underneath for your beading, and I keep my stitching needle on top. Just makes it a lot easy for me to alternate between the two without trying to locate each needle at a time. So that's Clay by Kim, and she's on Etsy and Instagram. So thank you very much for picking up on that. I did have another viewer, and I'll just pull one of my whips out. I had another viewer asking what it is that I had in between my snaps. So I'll just take off the grime guard on this one. So what I do is I pop felt in between, sorry, you will be able to see through this. I put felt in between my pieces. I do this for two reasons, actually three, but two mainly. So I try to make my snaps the same size as the design area, but that's not always possible depending on what I'm stitching. So if the design area fits inside my Q-snaps, I use the felt to not only help me to remove, I can pull the felt down and it pulls the snaps off. So it saves my hands, because sometimes they get cracked, and it also helps with tension. Keeps it nice and tight, tight as a drum. If my design area is too big, then and the fabric is too short, if I put the felt on, so if the fabric just comes to the end but it's not enough to grip my snaps on, makes it very loose, if I pop the felt on and pop the snap on, it actually acts like an extension of the material, so I get that nice tight tension on it, even though the snap is not the right size. The third reason why I use felt, and normally I use white, but in this instance I've color coordinated, but I normally use white. The third reason why I use felt in between my snaps is when I did Sabrina, my Mirabella Sabrina that I showed in my first Floss tube video, I couldn't get a Q-snap big enough to fit her in completely. So when I beaded her, I used the felt to protect the beads. Now I know this is a personal preference. Some people swear by not putting the snaps over the beads in fear that they may break. I haven't had that issue, so I actually put the felt on top when I have to move it, and then the snap, and that helps to protect the beads. But mainly I use the felt for tension. Makes it fun to stitch that way. Don't want a nice saggy fabric. So that was the other one, so thank you very much for that question. The other ones I've listed with the comments, and I appreciate them very much. Now, I just wanted to do a shout out as well to Cara at Case Cross Stitch. After my first video, she did a shout out on her Floss tube videos, letting people know about me. Also Terry, Stitching Petunia, and my good friend Sarah, Tipsy Stitcher, the enabler. Thank you very much, girls. I really, really appreciate it. I also wanted to say to Danielle Stitcherista, if you're not familiar with her, check her out. She is phenomenally amazing. I just wanted to say to you, Danielle, I'm thinking of you next month when you go in for surgery. I hope that everything goes well, and I'm sure that you'll be back soon in front of the camera telling us all about it. So good luck. I also want to just say a very, very big, huge thank you to the Floss tube community for the amazing welcome that you gave me. With over 3,000 views and over 480 subscribers after my first Floss tube video, I was just absolutely floored. Thank you so much. And to the 150 likes, and even to the 1 thumbs down, I will win you over. I appreciate it very, very much, and I appreciate everyone's support. The one other question that I forgot to mention is someone questioned what the image was behind me where I'm sitting. Now I'm not going to pan up, I'm going to get my husband to insert a picture at the end. It is a picture of Avalanche Falls from West Glacier National Park in Montana from his recent tour of the USA. And I'll get him to insert that in the end, and I'll also put a link to his website. But again, thank you so much everybody for your likes, for your support. It has been absolutely amazing. And I will see you next month with more of my progress. Have a great day. See you then. Bye.